That's me.
I think you just predicted it.
Got it.
Garrett is cold hands.
Garrett is cold hands.
The winch is the epilogue.
What up, and welcome to another episode of Brotherhood Without Manners, your favorite full spoiler reread podcast of George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire series. I'm Nate. Joining me as always is my brother, the one and only, thank God, Zach.
The Northern Wincher, as we call ourselves, not the flat earthers like Nate, who don't believe there's a winch on the north side of the wall. Yep, we're bringing that back. It's been like a couple episodes. We let it die, and now I'm back here to say I was correct. We all knew it. I knew it. Nate didn't know it. Now he knows it. You used it as a cold open.
Still not sure that I actually full on agree, so...
Wow. He just can't. You see what I deal with?
What happens.
We are a full spoiler reread podcast. If you've been here before, you know the deets. You know the dealio.
See, that's the prologue I want. I want the winch's point of view.
That's wins
then we'll
right
know
there.
what side. Then we know what side it's on.
Just the winch and Jane Poole just having a conversation about what it's like to be in a non-existent state.
Perfect. That's what I want. That's me.
I think you just predicted it.
Got it.
Garrett is cold hands.
Garrett is cold hands.
The winch is the epilogue. It's the prologue.
Of
or the
wins.
epilogue.
Sure.
And wins with the
well,
winch.
then the winch has to die.
Well, right. What if
So-
we get the wall falling from the winch's POV?
Shit.
Like,
Fuck yes.
you know?
Fuck yes.
Tragic.
Full spoiler. So we discussed the series as a whole.
You might hear tippy taps of a certain cat. No, we have a guest
is
in the
that
booth.
what you were?
Yep, we have a guest in the booth again. I was making a face during Nate's intro because we are joined by Lami, Nate's cat. And so you might hear some tippy taps or some...
He's trouble, let me tell you what.
Yeah, what the fuck's a Lami? It's an annoyance to Zach when we're trying to record. That's what the fuck a Lami is.
To be fair, he annoys you a lot.
He
of
does.
time.
Me and this cat seem to have some issues.
It's a love-hate relationship.
It's a love-hate. He's so soft, y'all. He is the softest fucking cat I've ever experienced in my life. But god damn it, he pisses me off.
Yeah, he's also very stupid, but
That
in
Nate,
a lovable
like,
way.
it's absolutely like it's not being mean. That is just a fact. This cat is dumb.
He's a dumb boy. He's a
but we
sweet
love
boy.
him for him, right? He's a lovable idiot.
My little trash cat. 'Cause he
Speaking
falls off
of
the counter.
lovable idiots, we just got what is being touted as the final trailer for A Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Yeah,
Dunk the Lunk, the most lovable idiot.
Mr. Tall himself.
I love it. Looks humor. It looks funny as fuck, and I am here for it. I am so glad that they're keeping the down to earth. This is a look at the small folk from a small folk kind of POV. We even get the like POV from the helmet during the joust, which
Yeah,
looks
looks
fucking
nice.
amazing. But there's lots of moments where he's just an idiot, and it looks great.
I wonder if there's some Summer Hall coming to our screens sometime in the future, or if that's gonna be too far ahead in time for it to actually.
Yeah, I think
occur on
maybe if
screen.
Martin gets a tippy tapping on the word processor and writes the next Duncan Egg book novella, which I do believe he plans to do, and I'd prefer wins before it, but I wouldn't say no to a new Duncan Egg. But
Yeah, the only issue there is he kind of would have to do that because we definitely don't want HBO getting ahead of him in the story.
I don't think they possibly could. Like, I think they would just have to stop with the Mystery Night and couldn't go forward. It's not like a game of the main series where like they could extrapolate what's going to happen. There's just too much mystery around
that's
Duncan
a
Egg's
huge gap
adventures
between those two.
between them both dying at Summer Hall and what
The end
happens
of
at the
Mystery
end
Night.
of Mystery Night.
Yeah.
And so, but I'm hyped for it. The show looks phenomenal and
Looks funny.
I
Looks
like
fun.
the trailer's a lot of fun. They keep throwing in these little like stopgap humorous moments with Dunk just being the lunk, the you know, are you Balin Targaryen? They get the fuck out of the way,
Yeah, I like
and then they're
his
like, oh nope, the exit's
walking
this
away,
way.
that one.
Like,
Yeah,
gotta get
that's the
out
one I
this
like.
way. It's good stuff. I'm excited, and the casting looks great. Egg is a phenomenal. I keep saying I want to just slap his bald little head, man. I love it.
Why do you want to
Because
physically abuse children?
it's not physically abusing.
You want to slap the kid.
I want to slap
Rude.
that bald little egghead,
Weird.
man. And his little high-pitched voice. Everybody needs a squire. A squire, sir.
That's true.
Anyway, we're not here to discuss Dunk and Egg. I wish we were.
Maybe
one day. Maybe once we wrap up the actual series.
Yeah, exactly.
Today, we are with another egg-shaped boy.
I love this egg-shaped boy just as much as the other
egg we've been talking off mic about how much we both really liked this chapter. We are joining Sam again
Sammy boy!
For this chapter.
Samwell.
Sam 4 in A Storm of Swords, where you're coming to the end, and I, for the life of me, never recalled that Sam and Jon pretty much dominate the end of this book.
Yeah, it's all the wall stuff, and it's cool to see. I was telling Zach, I like that pages before this chapter starts is the end of Arya's last chapter and her final chapter of the book, where she was talking about Eastwatch, and it's that weird transition where she's kind of reminding you that this was a place and a thing just for us to hear moments later, if you continued reading and didn't stop at that chapter, that Stannis is going to be coming right up from Eastwatch down the Rangers' roads. But the chapter just before the Arya one was Jon's last chapter, and I just really enjoy the way that Martin utilized Sam's arrival at the Wall to kind of fill us in on what happened at the end and afterwards from Jon's last chapter. And so we kind of pick up right there at the Wall after they've been there clearly for some time, because Gilly is at least comfortable enough knowing.
Well, yeah. So let's do the recap real quick, because last episode, as you said, we were reading Arya's final chapter, Arya 13 in A Storm of Swords. Arya and the Hound came upon the fun inn that we've seen many a times throughout the series, and there were ghosts inside. Well, not literal ghosts, but metaphorical ones in the Tickler and Polliver and a squire who wanted to start some shit. And start some shit they did, as the Hound was shit-faced drunk and was getting his ass kicked and definitely would have died if not having Arya there helping him. They managed to defeat Polliver, the Tickler, and the Squire, and Arya got 2 of those kills.
Pow pow!
And they continued on. The Hound was messed up, though. A cut to the thigh, a cut to the back of the neck, and missing an ear now. Arya dressed the wounds. They pushed on until they reached the Trident, and a couple days beyond that, the Hound could no longer continue. And Arya was like, fuck this shit, I'm out.
Right.
And took both the horses and rode for another week until she reached the Salt Pans, where she sold the horses, got cheated, and found a ship. The same ship that Sansa and Littlefinger rode to the Fingers. And tried to barter away on. The captain was like, no, girl, this is where we did the whole Eastwatch thing, because Arya was like, take me to Eastwatch, to the Wall, that's where Jon is. And he's like, nah, fuck that, there's pirates. That's Salador Sand and Stannis' fleet. He's like, there's pirates up at the Wall, there ain't nothing up there, we're bound for Bravos, we're going home. And that's when she's like, hey, I have a coin. Valor Dohaeris, Valor Morghulis, everyone's gonna die, I'm Arya Stark, get me the fuck out of here. And so she did.
But we're not reading Arya.
Well, we'll also, even I think it would behoove us to jump back one further and recap the Jon episode, because Jon at the Wall, shit's been going on.
Right. So he was arrested, essentially. He was called a traitor by Janos Slynt and Alliser Thorne, who is backing Janos Slynt.
The mean girls of the Wall.
Right. These two pulled him from the cell and demanded that he goes on a suicide kill mission to Mance Rayder.
To quote-unquote prove his non-turncloakness, which it was to die, get you killed.
Mance had requested that somebody comes out to speak so that they can potentially reach an agreement, and Jon was chosen so that he can not reach any kind of agreement, because we don't barter with terrorists.
Right, they wanted to break the rules of parley and not send an actual messenger to discuss terms, but send someone to kill him because they don't deal with wildlings.
And it's damned if you do, damned if you don't, because Jon is a traitor for not killing him. He will be named a traitor and a breaker of parley rules. Like, he's a war criminal and just
even if he succeeded in killing Mance, he was killed by the wildlings after the fact anyway. So there was absolutely no winning for Jon. Well, unless what happens, and that is something no one at the Wall anticipated, both sides, and that is Stannis Baratheon showing up with his entire army
Thank you, Sir Davos.
completely rout the wildlings and take them not only unaware, but just completely overwhelm their forces because they're so unorganized. There's so many different factions that they stood absolutely no chance against a unified army under command of a single commander like Stannis Baratheon, a seasoned military veteran. And so Jon, who had kind of been left with Val and Dalla, who was currently going into childbirth, we saw Varamir get burned out of Orell's owl, and that owl burn as well. Jon was kind of like, fuck this shit, I'm out, similar to Arya, and went back into the tent to kind of just wait it out once he heard the men calling King Stannis, Stannis, Stannis. And so that was where we knew the Wall to be last we left it. And then as we join Sam in Sam 4, he is watching Gilly nurse Val's nameless child. So right off the bat, here we go, folks. Strap the fuck in. We're already getting the foreshadowing of the baby swap with Monster and Gilly's son, Little Sam, being swapped to protect, to save, because rumor has it that Melisandre may want to burn a baby. And to avoid that, Lord Commander, in the future, spoiler alert, Jon Snow wants to avoid that outcome and thus will do some baby swapping. And it absolutely kind of ruins the women involved. Gilly isn't pleased, Val isn't pleased, but it's kind of the best circumstance.
The children will be likelier to live, and so
So Gilly will be taking the babe that is currently nursing at her teat and taking him south to Old Town with her and Sam, while Val and Jon and Little Sam remain to kind of deal with the nonsense here at the Wall. But that's a fun already little portend going on. Jon is also watching this, and we learn that per free folk tradition, Mance's son has not been named and won't be named until his 3rd year, but that the wildlings had taken to calling him the Little Prince and Born in Battle, and so that's fun.
Yeah.
He's got some monikers, but Monster will be the one that tends to stick here soon.
It's very similar to Daenerys Stormborn, with being born during the storm, as it suggests.
Sam notes that Jon is also watching and smiling, which Sam hasn't seen him do since his return, which we will get that. But it is a sad smile because Jon isn't capable of anything else these days.
That's just Jon. Yeah, it's here that we kind of learn how much time has passed, at least enough, because as we last left Sam, he was coming through the Wall after
he was helping Bran,
hanging out with Bran, getting him onto the other side.
Hey, Bran!
And so we learned that they followed, the road up the Wall, kept the Wall in sight at all times.
Yep. From Night Fort to Deep Lake to Queen's Gate, and eventually Gilly heard the sound of horses behind him, which at first is almost alarming until they see the Black brothers. Still alarming until Sam actually notes who is among that company. And it is
his buddies.
Sir Dennis Mallister with the wounded Bowen Marsh, which we know this was during the Bridge of Skulls battle.
Yep.
And among them also was Tywin, Giant, and Ed. And when Sam sees Tywin, Giant, and Ed is when he finally breaks down and weeps. And I think that's sweet. Not only for Ed, because we all love Ed, but also for Giant, who, reminder, Giant's the one who carried Sam from the Fist of the First Men when Sam was too fucking devastated and done with it. And so that was just a fun, at least Giant's still alive.
Giant's there.
And so it was them that told Sam the battle beneath the Wall. Stannis had landed at Eastwatch, and Cotter Pike led him on the Ranger roads to catch the wildlings unaware, and they did so.
Sneak attack. Yeah, it's Sam actually thinks about how close he was to him and Gilly walking straight into potentially Mance's camp or into Stannis' army or into, any of these.
Right, they
fucking-
threaded the fucking needle,
Yeah.
is essentially what he's saying. And thankfully they did. Mance was taken captive. Thousands were slain in the battle, including Harmadog's head. Fucking deserved.
Bye-bye.
No fucking RIP for you or GG's.
And Castle Black is fucking packed.
Yeah, Sam is unprepared most, though, he thinks, for the changes that occurred at Castle Black, because the Common Hall and the Great Stair are both in ruins. We obviously know this is from the attack from the south that came up, and kind of Jon's plan,
Right.
Along with Donald Noy. But the man, Donald Noy, Rast, Deaf Dick, and Red Allen are all dead, along with a bunch of others. Yet Castle Black is more crowded than Sam had ever seen it, and probably than it's been in quite some time. There's a king actually staying in the King's Tower for the first time in living memory.
Yeah, he lists off some of the banners to Gilly, who really, it's the first time she's ever seen fucking banners.
Legit banners, yeah.
And she comments how colorful they are, but we know that there's the Baratheon banner, obviously, is there. The Florent, House Florent, Estermont, Bar Emin, and Wensington.
Yep.
And
I think
Gilly,
it's real interesting the way these are already flying from Castle Black buildings, just saying, like,
now that the
while
North,
the
king
Night's
is
Watch
here,
takes no part, but all of these Castle Black buildings are flying these different house standards, meaning, like, they're getting roped in whether they like it or not, and they have no choice because of how weak and just infirm they are right now. They have an army of they had an army of wildlings to the north. They had no choice but to accept this king's aid, and that's kind of left them in a vulnerable position to where now they're kind of taken over by this king's men and houses, and that's literally shown to us with these flags now flying from
and we'll
these
see
different
even more
buildings.
of that as we learn later from Jon that Mance is technically the king's prisoner, not the Night's Watch prisoner, or else he would already have been hanged as a traitor to the Night's Watch.
While he's teaching Gilly these sigils and the banners, he says he's unfamiliar with the Fiery Heart. He doesn't know whose that is, but he learns from Pip that they're the Queen's men.
Right.
And I mean, we know that this is Melisandre's influence on Stannis. This is actually Stannis's banner, but it is related to the fervent followers of Melisandre and R'hllor.
The radicals. We had talked off mic about how this chapter in particular is very much a way of Martin beginning to close out the book, and so it's kind of what makes it so much fun is that he's going to lay the foundation for a lot of things that we're going to get much deeper into.
So much.
And that led us to talking about how the Night's Watch, while they're supposed to be removed from the politicking in the South, their vote for who is going to be the next Lord Commander is their form of politicking when they do it.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing, right at the time that that's happening, the king coming in and joining in, adding in some extra shit that we'll be playing in later when we get into like Dance with Dragons and shit. But I really like just that we don't even know with the Queen's men who's it's the Queen's men, but that's Melisandre's men who are actually the most devout followers, which is Stannis. And so it's funny to see again him layering these topics that are going to come back up in the next two books.
I also like that we're being told this secondhand. It's Pip saying that banner represents the Queen's men. Yet, in the next breath, he says, but don't mention that because the Queen was left at Eastwatch with the little princess. And so, you're kind of half right. Like, that banner is Melisandre's banner. It's, like, yes, there are Queen's men. The Queen's men are Melisandre's.
Right.
Like, that's what
exactly.
You're taking it an extra step there. And it's kind of, the insurance companies when I'm just trying to go to the fucking doctors. Like, they're Melisandre's men. Like, the Queen is a Melisandre.
Right, and the King is a Melisandre
right, and
follower.
So, and that's also a fun little itty-bitty bit of information, is that Stannis left Shireen and Selyse at Eastwatch for now. For now, that's just temporary. I don't want to talk about it, but the only woman Stannis brought with him is the Red Woman, and Sam is like, who? And he learns all about little Melisandre of Ashai and how she's a formidable, scary...
She's a witch!
She's a scary lady. But Jon had smiled to see Sam, much in the way he's smiled now, the tired smile that is going to basically be all Jon can muster for the rest of his life.
Right.
And so Jon had done well himself. Sam thinks he captured the Horn of Winter and a wildling prince, but that, of course, wasn't enough for Sir Alliser and his friends, who are still declaring him a turncloak.
Son of a bitch.
And I like this Sam stripping it away. It isn't Sir Alliser and his cohorts. It's not Sir Alliser and the other lords. It's Sir Alliser and his friends. And that's what it's down to now. We've got Sam and Jon and Gren and Pip
I wanted
and
to
Giant.
mention that because we get, when Gren sees Sam, he's fucking elated.
It's so
and
cute.
I love it so much. He's just so, you're alive, you made it, holy shit, and is
Big old
excited.
hug. He almost
Sam the
crushes Sam in
Slayer.
a bear hug. Yep.
You fucking did it.
Yeah, everybody's pleased to see Sam, which Sam kind of brushes off, but compared to book one, it's Sam, you have friends,
Right.
and that's what I like about him saying, oh, it's Sir Alliser and his friends that are calling you a
Right.
turncloak, Jon. He breaks it down to what it truly is it's cliquey, high schooly, lunch table bullshit, and that's all that's occurring in the politicizing here at the Wall.
And it's so funny how much Sam, again, having it be his POV, he dances around Jon being put up for the vote, first of all, because he's thought of as a turncloak, and yet he's right here stating it's only
Them.
Thorne
Only
and
that
his
little.
little group
Everyone
of...
else is like, yo, Jon's the shit. Because everyone else is aware that Jon led shit like a boss.
Right.
When there was no one else to do it. Donald Noy himself left Jon the Wall when he had to go down to
Knowing he was
hold the
likely
gate.
gonna die.
Right. When he had to go hold the door. Hold the
And
door.
Sam also is dancing around and kind of pushing aside his accomplishments because Jon praises him and is like, you got here and you rescued Gilly. You said you were going to do that.
Right.
Like, good job.
Good on
like,
you. Yep.
And then they will later on have the talk of like, you
You can't have her.
You can't keep her.
Yeah, the
Like,
language
it's-
is troublesome, but
but-
all right, Jon. But I do, Nate and I had discussed a little bit of this, but I do believe, short of a Game of Thrones and the start of the series, that this is the first time we have two POV characters come together for the first time, which is just a fun little, like, this is kind of what it's gonna be like in Winds when more start, Tyrion and Dany. It's gonna be and that's why it makes sense to me why Winds is so fucking hard to write. Of whose lens do you want to show it through?
Because that he skips time in between each of these. Now that they're together, we're gonna get this week as Sam, and then next 2 weeks as Jon, and then it'll be 3 months later, and we get in the way
And
that
so
he
I get the
flips it,
rewrites and stuff.
could be,
he
hard
writes
to
it once as
determine.
Jon, and then he's like, no, it might be better as Sam. 'cause
I'll
there's
leave
certain-
Jon for this
There's
part.
certain things Sam doesn't know that Jon does, that it just plays better, and so yeah, it's just a lot of fun to think about and theorize why we get the recap here as Sam, and why he decided to finally have Sam return at this pivotal moment. I mean, we kind of know it's for the Lord Commander-ness. Jon is on the outs, so Jon doesn't kind of know the internal stuff going on right now.
Right, he's too broody. He's around
Not
skulking,
only that,
and
but
he's
we
like,
learned
"All right,
he's also
everybody."
been taken off of, like, even just chores. Like, he's not even
Right.
allowed to do choring because he's such a turncloak right now.
And yet he still is such a goody two-shoes that he's out in the yard training and taking up the Master-at-Arms role without anybody asking.
I don't
or
think
telling
that's
him.
goody two-shoes.
No, I think it's the, like, he can't.
What
he's
else is there
bored,
for him to do?
But it
Yeah.
also looks like the perfect top warrior student's got to go out,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he just can't take a break. The cop that won't relax for a minute, after an event.
Val, my girl, brings up the large rattle shirt in the room. Mance is going to be burned, is the word on the streets. Is that red lady, the red lady that looks like flames? She likes to burn people, no? Like, I think I heard that she burned someone at Dragonstone just to like...
Burns them alive. Let's make sure that part's put in, because the wildlings also burn all the bodies.
And Jon's like, yeah, unfortunately, Mance was a Night's Watchman, and he defected, and so that's answered with death. That's just...
But more than that, he does say, like, it would have been done and over with quick by hanging if he was the Night's Watch's prisoner.
He's the king's prisoner.
And so we don't really get a say in
The only
it.
person permitted to see him is Aemon, which is a very fun play on word. The only person permitted to see him, see
Right.
blind Aemon, and he will be glamored soon and sent to Winterfell.
Right.
And so we're already playing with the seeing, because we also know that it's going to be Aemon who calls bullshit on Lightbringer. And is like, do you feel any warmth from that blade? No, me neither. Didn't think so. The Sword of Heroes should be warm. No? Mm-mm.
Something's going on
And so
here.
already we're getting the fun, I see, said the blind man as he picked up his hammer and saw.
It's very funny to me that, we had this meeting of the minds with Bran and Sam, just the last Sam chapter, and they're both on the same trajectory, where Bran is going to become the blind three-eyed raven figure up north of the wall, and Sam is going down to train to replace the Aemon, the blind ancient wise man south of the wall. And for them to be so closely related, Egg and Brennan Rivers.
That wording right there of Aemond is the only one permitted to see him currently just slapped me in the face so hard this reread, where it was like, of course, because Melisandre is already like, yo, Stannis, this dude, like, he's got riz, he's got balls, I fucking like him. We can't even burn him for Rolor. Like, even Rolor is like, nah, he's better alive.
That dude?
Like, nah, let's put him to work. And so, yeah, they're gonna glamour the fuck out of him. And so, is he already, like, glamored, and it's him talking to Aemon being like, yeah, bro, like, I feel good, but he already looks like someone different, and Aemon just has no fucking clue?
Well, what else is fun is that Aemon and Mance know each other already. Like, when Mance...
Right, yeah.
You wonder what their relationship
what they're
was
talking
like.
about. If they're alone, because otherwise I see it as Melisandre being like, and now he looks like Aemon, and it's Aemon talking to Aemon, and she's just fucking with him, like bewitching, wiggling her nose, and Mance looks like someone different.
Sure.
But otherwise, if it's just Aemon and Mance, like, is there a little bit of like, you didn't even say bye, homie. Like, you didn't even give me a fist bump. Yeah. Like, nothing. Like, I get it. You all that for your pink, red cloak, whatever you wanted, but not even a fist bump. Goodbye.
It's also to me that Aemon would listen to Mance the way that Aemon has listened to Jon
and Sam. Yes,
and so he's going to hear him out about the wildlings and coming south and the monsters, and so. Who's to say that Aemon isn't sitting there going, no, like, I can sense that glamour's not powerful enough, so heighten it up a bit there. Crank it up
The
more.
one thing that annoys me is that, and I don't think we do, we don't get Aemon's opinion on the Horn of Winter.
Sure.
Like, I'm very curious, like, because, he feels out Lightbringer and calls bullshit. Like, if he just went up to, he's like, yo, the air around this horn is vibrating. I don't fucking like it. That's the Horn of Winter.
That's it.
And when I talked to Mance, my boy up there in the King's Cell, he was like, yo, we found it in, like, some crazy giant's crypt, and, like, we had to break, like, 6 curses, and shit got wild, but we found it.
Right.
And so, yeah, I love this. I love this whole little bit here of Aemond is the only one up there chit-chatting with Mance.
To see.
Yeah, to see. Yeah. And that language is so intentional.
Which is unfortunate, because Val does ask, saying the only thing she wants is to see Mance, and John's...
And for Mance to see his son.
For Mance to see his son for the first time.
Valid.
Yeah.
Val.
And so Jon, can you stop? Will you just fucking stop, please?
Valid.
Jon is... he wants that to happen. So he's going to say,
Yeah.
he's going to do what he can, but he says don't count on it, though.
I'm Turncloak Central, so,
Right.
I'll ask about it, but they're going to be like, fuck you, Turncloak.
Right. They trust me as little as they trust you.
And then
right
I
now.
like this bit where he's like, but Sam and I have to go. We have duties. Well, Sam does. Sam has duties. I'm not even allowed to do my duties.
I can't even do my chores, so I'm going to go train.
And so they leave, and as they're leaving, Sam notes that the guards, the Queen's men guards posted outside, and as they descend down the stairs, they start to talk, and this is where Jon's like, you did great getting Gilly here. Well done. You know you can't keep her, which, again, problematic language, Jon, but
Samwell, the smart, is already got a plan drawn up for all that.
I feel like this harkens back kind of to some Lyanna, to some Eddard Stark, to some, like, hey, Jon, can a lie be good if there's honorable intent
Right.
behind it?
Yeah.
The
very specific phrasing there.
Your birth, Jon Snow? Like,
Right.
Can a lie be good?
Hey, Howland Reed.
Yeah,
can,
right,
can I have a word with you?
Can a lie, if it's well intent, be good? And then Sam kind of lays it out. His thinking is
He wants to write a letter to his parents and
Send
send
Gilly.
Gilly with the baby, claiming that it is Sam's, that he knocked up this wildling bitch. And, I mean, how else is he, like, hey, Ma, hey, Pa. He's asking if his father, or thinking that maybe his father will think he's a little bigger of a man. Not bigger of a man, I guess that's not good for
an actual man. He wants to
right.
send Gilly to Horns Hill, and he thinks, my mother will take the babe if she thinks it's mine. She could probably even find a place for Gilly, some service for her to do within the household. Randall is, of course, the tougher sell, as everyone knows, but he would probably at least be like, wow, he managed to get a wildling girl with child, because he always told Sam, you're going to die a maiden. You're not a man. You're never going to fuck any woman, because look at you, you're pathetic. And so he would at least be like, no shit, he actually did it. And so even the bastardy of it wouldn't bother Randall, because it would be more of like a, wow, he actually managed to get a wildling woman with child.
Right.
And Jon's like, I see what you're doing, and, like, I get it. You better hope that, like, Gilly can...
Right. Hey, can Gilly act?
Dance, can she dance that dance? Because if Lord Randall learns he's being deceived... and Jon's absolutely, that's going to be some hell to pay. And so Sam's like, yeah, okay, you're not wrong.
Right, because he does also, give him some warm words saying, as a bastard, it's still possible for him to, if he's got skill with a sword or a spear, to be named part of a guard,
Right.
a king's guard or a lord's guard, something like that, and just be a well-established man, a hedge knight, potentially.
I like this whole sequence because, one, Jon tells Sam, because when Sam first asks if a lie can be honorable, Jon's like, you're not built for lying, Sam. Sam's lying right to your face. He saw your little brother alive.
Right.
Two, Jon has completely flip-flopped his position on bastardy and the fact that, like, a bastard can find a place in a household.
Shouldn't exist whatsoever.
Right, whereas that his own feel was like, I'll never bring a bastard
Right.
into the world because they don't have a place in the world. But here he's telling Sam, yeah, a bastard, if he performs well, if he does well, he can find the, service in the guard, the household guard, or...
And this is all necessary because it's showing his acceptance, the wisdom that he's
wildlings,
gained
yes.
through his spending time with the wildlings, which, again, is just kind of nudging Sam, saying, hey, I'm a good contender for that Lord Commander role.
It's also why I was giving Jon shit and kept saying the problematic language. The keep her. You can't keep her, Sam. That's wildling language.
Right.
Like, you stole her.
Right.
You
She
took
belongs
her.
to you.
That's wildling
Right.
vernacular. It's not like I'm just giving Jon shit, but
Well, it's that because Gilly's probably saying things in that same vein
100%.
to Sam, just in the way that she speaks.
with her and Craster, it was probably a little more problematic in the, like, you're mine and mine alone.
It was problematic.
Well, but
definitely,
I
way
mean
more.
specifically in the
Yep.
dialogue,
Yep.
where it was like, there's never a chance of anyone stealing you because you belong to me.
She is an object.
Right.
As
Craster
opposed
was
to
less a
person.
wildling and more just a fucking monster, and so
Right.
it's hard to say whether or not Gilly is speaking the wildling kind of vocabulary of the, their beliefs that, like, if you want to marry a woman, you want a woman to settle down with you, you have to go and steal her, as Jon did Ygritte, quote unquote. And so whether or not Gilly is using that exact terminology, we don't know. But Jon is. Jon's doing the, like, you can't keep her. Like, you may have nabbed her under the stars, but, like, you kind of can't keep her here at the walls. You know our words. You said them same as I did. It's a great exchange.
It was cool. And so we then get that they split. Sam goes off to do his duties. Jon heads down to train. This is where we learn that Stannis made sure that people were not raping the wildlings afterwards. Because it did occur a few times, but as far as Jon had heard, they'd have all been gelded at this point. Anyone that was caught raping got the shit chopped off.
Yeah, Stannis maintaining his, Onion Knight isms where Davos lost his fingers for smuggling, but also fed the garrison.
We also learned that Alliser's been running his mouth hard.
Because Sam has some thoughts here of, like, because Sam assures Jon that only Alliser and them and his friends think that Jon's a turncloak, because Jon is the guy who brought Stannis the Horn of Winter and captured the Wildling Prince, and Jon's like, I didn't fucking capture anybody. I was there,
when Stannis
and then I went
captured.
into the tent and was, like, pretty much making sure that Val and Dalla were good. And then Alliser is now twisting that and saying that Jon refused to raise his sword against any of their foes, of course. And then we learn that Alliser had also put his name in for Lord Commander, but when he pulled up a weak 6th, he withdrew and put his backing in support of Janos Slynt.
And Sam says that he would have made a great Lord Commander with his lineage, with his background, with his training, but he spent his entire time at the Wall training people to hate him out on the field and treating them like shit. So they're like, yeah, no, fuck that guy.
Yeah,
like,
a week
awful.
6 on the first day, and then he lost ground on the second, so he withdrew and backed Janos Slynt.
Gross.
And so, Jon, of course, is like, well, everyone just knows me as the bastard who killed Qhorin Halfhand, bedded a spear wife, and they call me a warg.
Fuck yeah.
But how can I be a warg without a wolf? I don't even dream of Ghost anymore.
You're on the wrong side of the wall.
All my dreams are of the crypts, of the stone kings on their thrones. Sometimes I hear Rob's voice and my father's as if they were at a feast. But there's a wall between us, and I know that no place has been set for me.
Yeah.
So, there's a literal wall between us,
so
you and
there's
Ghost.
a wall between you and Ghost, and then there's a wall between you and the Starks that you aren't.
Well, that's the wall.
seeing
The wall is between you and Ghost,
Right,
the
you're
Starks.
missing
That's
that,
your Stark
right.
heritage right there. So, of course, it sounds like there's separation between you and Rob and your father, because
They're in the other room.
there literally is.
Open the gate, bro.
But Jon is also still dreaming of the crypts, which is just fun stuff. So, this is where Sam feels awful about not being able to tell
wants to.
him about Bran, but he swore it 3 times. Once to Jojen and Mira, once to
Bran himself.
Bran
And then
himself.
the third was to Cold Hands.
Cold Hands. For the
Actually,
life.
that might have been the first one, technically, was Cold Hands, and then Jojen Reed, and then Bran.
Once to Bran himself, once to the strange boy Jojen, last of all to Cold
it
Hands.
was last.
The world believes the boy is dead, his rescuer had said as they parted. Let his bones lie undisturbed. We want no seekers coming after us. Swear it, Samwell of the Night's Watch. Swear it for the life you owe me. And, like, god damn, Cold Hands. God damn. And so, poor Sam, like, but respect. Like,
He's keeping it.
it
He's
would
doing
be so nice for Jon to hear it. Jon doesn't need to hear it and know it at this moment in time.
I like that there's like this realness for it for Sam, where he's seen the abilities to an extent with Cold Hands. He knows that Cold Hands is no joke. Then he runs into the door, which, like, if you're a non-believer, let me show you the light.
Plus everything he's seen north of the wall.
And then he meets Bran, who is specifically correlating the shit that Cold Hands was like, you need to go and help this dude through, like, just keep shit the way it be cool.
Sam has literally killed a White Walker. And
so for him to have this, like, Cold Hands being like, it's best for the world, dog. Like, if you want to help save the future of mankind, Just don't tell anybody.
Not to mention, it feels kind of like oathy, like almost like a spell, you know? Like he swore it 3 times. Like like there might be
Power
some
in threes.
Right, there might be some significance.
3 heads to the dragon.
Like for legit though, like he swore it at the wall too.
Right.
Which Melisandre will go on to describe as the hinge of the world. Like I do feel like there's almost some magic in that swearing that he did, and that to break that might bode ill for Sam.
For sure. Yeah, so they do finally part ways.
Yeah.
And Sam heads off to go and help.
Sam assures Jon, he's like, Janos Slynt will not be Lord Commander. And like, okay, King. Like,
which
preach.
Jon does kind of.
Yeah, you sweet summer child.
He puts this little.
It's been happening.
Drop of doubt in his mind. It's been happening for days, Sam, you fool. Which is very. Lord of the Rings. Like, I try not to go too much to Samwise and Samwell being very similar, but that, like, you sweet summer child. Exactly that. And
so here's we learned that because Jon wants to go hit something very hard with a sword, and this is where we learned that Jon has taken it upon himself to be master at arms.
Training some of the newer people.
Satin, Horse, Hop Robin, and with his clubfoot, Aaron and Emric. And so those names will be very important come dance.
Coming up in a couple books.
Otherwise, he would just train alone for hours with the sword, and it reminds me of Arya, like kind of keeping up that skill.
Yeah, it's funny because that's something I was thinking of when I was reading it is we sometimes may lose the reasoning behind why Jon is so damn well off when he is fighting. Whether it's, what the men again that attacked Mormont and took that over, or with Qhorin half hand, or whatever it is.
The battles here at the wall.
Right, battles. Guy's skilled as shit. He knows his stuff. But anyway, we get Sam going to help tend to the king's men, just refilling their drinks, tending to their wounds a little bit with Clytus, I think, at that point.
Yeah.
And then they break apart. Sam takes a chance to go. He's heading to feed the ravens in the rookery, but checks the standings for the votes and sees that it's all kind of the same as it was.
Yeah, he lays it out for us, the voting system here at the wall. A man needed the votes of 2/3 of the sworn brothers to become Lord Commander. And after 9 days and 9 votes, no one's been even close to it so far. Janos had been gaining, creeping up first past Bowen Marsh and then Othel Yarwick, but he's still well behind Dennis Mallister and Cotter Pike. And so Sam is convinced it's going to be one of those two, but the voting is still going. So, yeah, he goes to the Maester's Tower. He's helping Clytus.
But he does also realize then that Janos has been the only one that's increasing daily through the ranks.
Right.
And so that's confirming what Jon had said.
So yeah, as he's going up to the rookery, he stops, as you said, and makes a tally of last night's count. There were 30 names at the first that were offered, but most withdrawn when it was clear they couldn't win. 7 remain. Sir Dennis Mallister is leading with 213. Cotter Pike, Janos Slynt, Othel Yarwick, Bowen Marsh, Three Finger Hob, and Dolores Ed Talwit, and he thinks that's Pip's doing.
Yeah, love it.
So he's, making things of the count. Only Janos is climbing day after day, which, The Ravens are now crying snow, snow, snow at him, and he thinks he taught them that. LOL. Sam, you silly bitch. So, few of the birds that Aemon had sent off returned as of yet, but one reached Stannis, he thought, and that's one found Dragonstone and a king who still cared. Debatable.
I think yes. I think he does care because he, as king, knows that it's his duty to aid in the protection of Mountain.
He knew it after Davos pointed it out.
It was ignored because his previous hand was a piece of shit and didn't
Correct.
Pay attention.
Politics played.
I do agree that because Davos said it, but he at that point also mentions that Stannis was the only fucking one, too, though. None of those 2 boy kings, Joffrey or Tommen, made it this way up.
Yep.
And Sam also thinks that's the houses that my father has pledged himself to. Yes, he knows
his house is pledged to the boy king Tommen on the throne, and he thinks, what good is a king if he won't defend his realm? And he's thinking, as he thinks that, he's thinking of the Fist of the First Men and Crasters in the absolute fear of all of that, and he's 1,000% right. he thinks, the Queen's men make him uneasy, but at least they'd fucking come. Like, they're here. And so he looks for Jon Snow that night at supper, but doesn't see him anywhere because Jon's, of course, brooding somewhere.
Right.
So he takes a place with his friends.
His friend's table.
And
in the cafeteria.
Pip is telling Ed about the contest they had with the straw men about gathering
Ed almost
arrows.
won, but not quite. He lost.
And
there.
Ed complains that he never wins anything.
Yeah.
And
says he wishes he was lucky like the guy who died
Wat of
off.
Long Lake, who was the one who won in the straw men competition, because Wat was lucky. The gods always smiled on him, even when the wildlings knocked him off the Bridge of Skulls. Somehow he landed in a nice deep pool of water. And Gren was like, oh, did the pool of water save him? And he was like, no. Like, he was already dead from the axe in his head.
But think how much worse it would be if he hit something.
But he could have landed on the rocks. And, like, Ed, you beautiful bastard.
Love it. So at dinner is when after dinner is when the votes happen.
Yeah.
And so at this vote tonight, Bowen Marsh stands right up when Aemon asks if anybody wants to speak and announces that he's withdrawing and backing Janos Slynt. We do know that there's been the politicking by the politickers. Janos and Alliser have been running around speaking to people. Thorne has been working on Othel Yorwick to get him to back
I hate it.
Janos as well.
Yeah.
I do too. Anybody that just is willing, it's so crazy. I mean, you see how easy and quickly it can happen, so I can't say like, oh, I don't know how this could happen. I know how it could happen because it does fucking happen, but it's just so wild. It's so fucking wild. Anyway, everybody cast their votes. We learn the system. Again, this is why I think it's such a well-done chapter by Martin, because it's introducing the voting system now, so that way when it really counts, we already know how it works. Each person who has a legitimate vote or claim has a little button or a little pebble assigned to them. You drop their fucking pebble into a bucket that they've got to set aside.
Yep.
Some people will cast multiple votes if a man is on a shift and can't make it to the vote, and then people from like Cotter Pike are casting for their entire garrison back at like Eastwatch that couldn't be here to make their votes, which is just a little bit crazy that commander gets to choose for
the votes
all
of everyone,
of that.
right?
But,
There's no checks and balances there.
Who the fuck am I?
I mean, it's
Shit.
it's similar to like proxying a vote in a motorcycle club. It's that.
Right.
You just kind of have to take their word for it that actually is what was discussed upon.
Right.
But so when the hall is finally empty, save for Sam, Clytus, and Aemon, Clytus and Sam upend the kettle in front of Maester Aemon, and it's seashells, stones, and copper pennies that they're using to vote, which, again, shows the poverty of the Night's Watch. There isn't even a legitimate voting system other than, like, find a little token and...
For some reason, it makes me think of Shireen, just the underwater, the seashells.
I hate
the
you.
Monies. I know.
You're just
I'm
gonna
not trying to.
Yeah, you are.
This time, it's not as a jab at you specifically. It's just that's what I like. This sound of the cacophony of these things all scattering
and then again,
to the table.
we just get Aemon's sort of ability to, like, he sorts this shit quicker than shit.
And Ben is able to confirm, and he puts fucking Clytus down, where he's like, well, I had this count where this person had 2 less. And Sam was like, well, I had just 1 off. And he's
Sam's count is correct.
Sam's right.
Jon Snow didn't cast a token. It makes no matter. No one's close.
You
We're
fucking
done.
idiot, Clytus.
And I like that Aemon knows it's Jon. Sam notes earlier in the night that he wondered where Jon was and why he had stayed away from the night's voting and from dinner this evening. And I think Jon is struggling with the politicaling that's going on now. I mean, it's Alliser, Thorne, and Janos Slynt being fucking cunts after Jon just held the wall. Jon fought the wildlings.
Jon parlayed with the wildling king.
He's Turncloak, but also, like, does he get a vote if he's kind of ostracized as Turncloak right now? But Aemon is like, yeah, no.
He's innocent. He's innocent.
And Jon Snow didn't cast his vote tonight. And that's the one that matters because that's the next Lord Commander. Right. And so Aemon's like, yeah, no, this counts bullshit. Sam was right. And so they call it for the night. Sam is relieved because, it's not one of the fuckers that has it.
Right. Jump cut to Pip's cell. And so that night they're chilling, and Sam is bitching. He's getting into his wine, which I love.
Yep.
I just love. They're just chilling, having some beers.
Sam's tongue loosens.
Throwing back some tallies, bro. And Sam is just running his mouth like, yo, fuck fuck Alliser, fuck Janos. We need to
Dennis
get
Mallister or Cotter Pike.
We need to get Dennis Mallister or Cotter Pike to withdraw and back the other one. Whichever one of them does that, doesn't matter which, just one of them, they will win. So we need to do that. And they were like, whoa, you went from somebody to we. We think that actually it should be you. And again, Sam can't see it himself, but he's a survivor of the Fist of the First Men.
Yeah.
He's killed a White Walker. He's traveled south, saved a mother and child.
A Lord's son.
A Lord's son
the
of
Maester's
pure blood.
Steward. The Maester's steward as well. Like, yeah, you kind of got it all going on there, Queen.
You're kind of the guy. So how about you handle that? And he's like, I would. There's just
I'm a coward.
I'm a little bit.
I'm a coward. And like Sam, that don't work anymore.
We wish you could meet Ned Stark.
Right.
Because the only time that you can be brave is when you're afraid.
And that doesn't no, Sam, you're not. Like, you're not a fucking coward anymore.
You
not
made
in the
it
things that
you've
back
done.
from the Fist of the First Man.
You walked your happy ass through an open wall mouth door that cried as you entered.
You're lying to Jon Snow to protect his little baby brother while he goes on a magical wizard journey. Like,
he's probably crawling to his own death north of the wall.
You're not a craven coward. You just like to use that as your shield now, and that ain't gonna fly when Aemon's like, Samwell, they're already scheming and doing shit, so why don't you scheme and do shit to put a good Lord Commander in charge? Because otherwise the bad guys are gonna do it for a shithead in charge. So
say something.
We need to even the playing field a little bit. That's the end of the chapter. I love this fucking chapter.
It's a very fun, interesting chapter for such a short thing.
Set up the end of A Storm of Swords for Jon and Sam for the whole wall arc of this book. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
He was able to close out what happened after Stannis arrived in a very succinct way. We'll get a little more from Davos,
that's still going to expound.
From that side. Plus,
well, no more Davos this book.
Well, we'll get the whole fucking
from Jon and
anyway.
Sam.
And it's just well done to get all this informational. It was an exposition dump on us where it didn't feel expository.
No, he could have dragged Sam's return to the wall out for longer. Sam could have missed Dennis Mallister and Bowen Marsh and kept walking with Gilly and had another 2 chapters of him and Gilly
camping and
walking
hiking
and camping, keeping the wall in sight. But instead, it now becomes about the next Lord Commander. Who's taking charge here at the wall? Right now, it's Stannis Baratheon, and that can't fly. That's not allowed to happen. We can't have a king in charge at Castle Black. That's against every rule of the Night's Watch. And so they have to, and Aemon said, these votes have been known to go for a long fucking time. And so we'll keep going until somebody gets the votes. And we're seeing it already in Sam's chapter. Alliser, Thorne, and Janos Slynt are King's Landing the fuck out of this shit. They're in the ears of everyone who will listen, trying to turn votes to Janos Slynt. For some reason, because for some reason Janos Slynt thinks that will be power, and that it won't end with his death at the hands of the White Walkers or the wildlings.
Well, what's so entertaining is that he's going to be aiding in the let's murder Jon Snow scheme, and yet he thinks that being the Lord Commander's safe.
That is what would happen if he did get voted in. What are you gonna do? And Alliser. Alliser is a master at arms, and probably is a great fighter.
See, the problem is there's a really good real life analogy, but there's already a wall put up, so he can't just do that stuff. Outstanding chapter for Sam. I'm very excited for.
And we kind of continue because next episode we'll be going into Jon 11. Sam does have another chapter in this book, so this is not Sam's final. And it's not Jon's final either, I believe. Jon 12 will be Jon's final. So, great. I expected it to be a much shorter episode, but...
Right, we talked about that too. We thought it was going to be a bit
because it was
shorter.
it was a short chapter, but it's a fun one. It's
so much fun. Enjoyable, yeah. Glad to see the gang and the squad in this one a lot, so that's a lot of fun. We've been getting a lot of comments and emails. We appreciate them all. Yeah. So if you'd like to be one of those who sends us in messages, you can email us at withoutmannersbrotherhood@gmail.com. You can also comment on our Spotify, on our YouTube, are the two primary. Subscribe on that YouTube. Yeah. That helps. We like that for, all
one
the reasons.
The emails that we recently got made me actually laugh out loud because it brought up an old joke that we used to harp on a lot.
Right, which has to do with the Patreon, which will be activated soon, but we won't be necessarily focusing on putting any content there. For now, it's kind of just the old content that was available and a way for you to donate.
Just for now,
for now.
If you guys have any ideas for Patreon content, throw them at us. We're always willing to listen to, but we're not a big fan of putting stuff behind paywalls. Like, if you want to support us monetarily, always appreciated. But doing it like you'll get exclusive access to these kind of episodes kind of feels honky to us. We did it with the sample chapters, but even that, like, I want y'all to be able to hear what we have to say about the sample chapters. And like Dunk and Egg, we considered doing on Patreon once. If we're going to cover Dunk and Egg, I just kind of want to release it into the main feed so everybody can hear it. So if you have any ideas of, Patreon exclusive stuff, send it to us.
Because, otherwise I'll be opening it up and probably putting a free tier just so that everyone gets access to the stuff, but you can go to higher
if you want to throw us a couple bucks, it's always appreciated.
Somebody wrote in to our email requesting essentially some information about the Patreon, as it's currently not up and active. And they said, bad news. I can't find your Patreon online. But that's not the worst of it. Father's broke his leg.
Oh my God. Neddard Stark's leg is broken, and it's the most tragic.
I don't know what time zone that listener is from, because I got that email late at night when it came through. I almost fell out of my bed. I laughed so hard at it. And so
Nate tends to be more on the emails than I am. I work a butt ton, and when I'm not at work, I'm usually sleeping. And so when Nate and I gather, he will, hey, did you see this comment? Did you see this email? And so when he showed me that fucking email, I actually died laughing because, man, I forgot about that one. It was similar to Duskendale with Rob. One of those ones that we harped on for a while, where
Rob got the letter from down south when Jamie stabbed him in the leg.
All these men from Winterfell dead, but that's not the worst of it. Father broke his leg.
And granted, I think that listener may be back on that episode. Like, they're not currently
enjoy
at this one, but holy shit, it was great. We appreciate you listening.
Yeah, we love the emails, love the comments.
We'll catch you on the next one.
Valor to Harris.
Peace.